1 minute to the show.
No, I'm really excited that everybody got here in time for the show. And toward the end, when you're watching it inside, have them all come out. Yeah. Just a random share giveaway. I never got a message from last week's random share giveaway winner. I never got his address. So maybe if he's watching tonight, I don't know. I don't have his name from last week. I have it. I announced it on the page actually, but he never responded. Yeah. That's going to be good. Oh, and it was the magazine giveaway for the random subscriber for the YouTube channel. One of the guys never contacted me, so I'm going to give away another subscription next week. I'm going to announce it one more time tonight, and then next week I'm going to pick a new winner. Okay. Go.
We're live.
You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Let's get down to the starting line, and I'll tell you what we're going to see on tonight's show. Jordan? In the next time try this segment, we've got a really interesting tip for you on cables. That's coming up. The Moto Showcase, a 1974 Honda XR75. Beautiful bike. Here's the problem. We've got some problems, and you've got some questions, and we've got some answers coming up for you, including one on how to repair a seat foam. What's it worth? 1971, I think it is. Husky, 250. Of course, they mention Steve McQueen's name in the advertisement, but don't they always? We've got all that and a whole lot more coming up on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. I am your host, Joe Abadi. Thank you, Jordan, Chelsea, and Susie for helping me put the show together. And thank you, the viewers at home, an early happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm sure you're getting ready with pumpkin pies and turkeys and mashed potatoes and all sorts of things like that. But thanks for taking the time to tune into the show tonight. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to comment Motion Pro. Tonight, we will have a random share giveaway winner, and he will win, or they will win, a sticker sheet just like this, compliments of vinco.com. Also, the YouTube channel is going good, but we always love some new subscribers. Don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel. When you do, you'll get a little alert like this, tells you when we're live, and you can watch all of our shows from YouTube. You can watch all the recorded shows, all the interviews we've done, and any other videos that we put up there on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. And how are the experts watching the show? How are the pros watching it? They're sitting back on their couch and they're watching the show on their big screen TV. Comment from your phone. It's a great way to watch the show. I know a lot of my friends are doing it that way. You can see it on the big screen TV, comment from your phone, and not miss any of the action here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't forget to keep sending in those cards, folks. Questions, cards, comments, statements, whatever it may be. Please send them in. We're always interested in hearing from you and reading what you have to say, what you're thinking about here on the show. It's also how we get our questions for the Here's the Problem segment and our Moto Showcase bike. So stay in communication with me. I like it. It's the best part of the show. As always, I want to thank our sponsors, Vintco, Motion Pro, Racer X, Preston Petty Products, Sunrise Vapor Blasting, Golden Products is still out there, Full Circle Racing, and Northwest Mako CZ. In the Here's the Problem segment, in the next time try this segment tonight, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do and what you can try doing too. Next time you're doing a restoration or you need some cables for your bike and you can't find the exact cable. Cables come, of course, when you buy them aftermarket. They're always nice and fresh with all the hardware replated. Sometimes you'll have a spring on something like this on a rear brake, and you want it that way when you go to buy a new cable. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way, and you can't find cables for certain bikes, and you wind up with old hardware like this. What you can do is you can cut that old hardware off right at the cable, take it off, remove it, you can polish it and have it replated the same way you do any other hardware for your bike, like your nuts, bolts, and fasteners. You can then get some cable just like this. You can get it from Motion Pro. They sell it in bulk. They've got the casing, they've got the cable, and you can then make yourself some new cables. They also sell a kit just like this. It's called a cable fittings kit, and it comes with a variety of things inside there, just like that, from barrels to caps to nipples to ball ends and all sorts of things that come inside that kit from Motion Pro. Now, there are other people that sell kits as well for cables, and in the future, we're going to do an episode on how to actually attach those cables again, or the ends to those cables. But in the meantime, if you're looking to freshen up your cables and you can't find the right cable for your bike, or you're out there on eBay or someplace else and you're looking and cables are, it can be several $100s for cables at this point, and you're not seeing what you want, you can make your own cable. You can contact me if you want more information on this, but next time you need a cable, try that. By the way, Vintco has a great special going on this week. Curtis Leverton and the guys, they've got OSA triple clamps. Incredible. These things are made of aluminum. They fit most OSAs. The extra fork clamping area really helps with the rigidity of the front end, and they are made to accept a Honda rubber bar mount reducer, okay? So you really lose that vibration. You'll get a much more rigid front end from these triple clamps, available from Vintco, $599.95, Vintco.com. Vintco, keep the ride going. In the Moto Showcase tonight, we've got a nice little bike that was sent into us by Bill Naselrod. It is a 1974 Honda XR75, first bike for a lot of guys, and of course, we all probably remember Jeff Ward riding one of these back in the day, 1974. I'll tell you a little bit about this bike from Bill Naselrod. Jordan will go through the slides. Bill says this bike was purchased over 25 years ago from a seller in New York at my house via UPS in 3 large boxes. I collected a lot of NOS parts over the years and assessed everything for a full restoration. This bike was built to factory specs, excluding the wheels. At the time, I was going in a different direction with the project, and I decided to use some XL aluminum rims. I plan to return this bike to the way it was from the factory in the very near future, the way it was on the dealership floor. And when I do that, I will be replacing those aluminum wheels with the steel unit that originally came on it. The engine assembly was handled by Rob Meadows of Broomworks, and all the paintwork was done by Brian Fettigan. Absolutely one of the best in the business, Brian Fettigan, no question about it. The bike is currently on display at the Broom factory. I saw this bike personally a couple of weeks ago when I was there, and Bill Naselrod, another one you've hit out of the park. The bike was beautiful, and I want to thank Bill Naselrod for sending in this beautiful little Honda XR75 to us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. And you can do the same thing, folks. I'd love to showcase your bike here as well. And you don't have to be show bike. It's just a real nice race bike, something that's important to you. It could be a mini. It could be a big bore bike, whatever you might have. Send it in to us. I'd love to feature it here on the show. And I will also be giving away a coffee mug, which I forgot to bring with me on the set tonight. So Bill Naselrod, you got a coffee mug coming. Compliments of Preston Petty Products and Vintage Motocross Q&A. This week's Preston Petty special is a set of translucent fenders. That's a front and rear fender and 3 number plates, just $122.50. $122.50 available from Preston Petty Products. And Paul Standard is looking for dealers, okay? Not just distributors. They're looking for dealers for Preston Petty Products. Get a hold of Paul Standard either through the Preston Petty website or contact me, and I will give you Paul Standard's phone number. You can contact Paul. You can become a dealer for Preston Petty Products. Thank you, Paul. It's time for the Here's the Problem segment. Tonight, we've got a couple of questions that came in this week. Jordan, what's up first on the menu? Jordan Reyes saw pictures of a CR250 on your page. Where did you get that little wire clamp? That is, where'd you get that little wire clamp? And is the wire different from the plastic coated wire? This message was a little bit longer. It was a little confusing at first. What he's talking about is this red hot ignition wire that goes from the points up to the coil. And yeah, it is a cloth wire. So if you're doing a restoration, you want to get that cloth wire that is available. Go online and look up cloth coated wire. Very, very popular with the antique and vintage car guys. That's the kind of wire that came on a lot of the old cars, and they still do make it. And yes, it is available. As far as that little post goes, it's called a flagpole terminal. You're going to find them. Look up flagpole terminal. And most people can't find them. They don't know exactly what it's even called. So it's called a flagpole terminal, and you'll find them. There's an example of them here. These would be close to the one that Honda had on their bike, although the one on the Elsinore is a little bit flatter. But you'll find something that's really, really close, especially now that you actually know the name of it. Flagpole terminal, cloth-coated wire. Jordan Reyes, thanks for the question. I hope that helps. Bill Maloney, is there a way to repair divots in my seat foam, or do I have to replace it? This can be a problem with older bikes where the seat sometimes something sits on it over the years. Some parts sometimes are leaning up against something in a barn or in a shed, and it leaves a little bit of a divot in the seat. Yeah, you can. You can cut that section out and you can replace it with the same foam, or you can have another donor foam where you can cut that little section out, put another piece in there, and if it's a little high, you can sand it. Real dense seat foam that you find like on a dirt bike or almost any motorcycle really is pretty firm stuff. And you can gently sand it with like a 180 or a 150 grit sandpaper, even something a little more coarse than that, 120, 100, and you can get it down to shape. The problem you're gonna have, Bill, is that even after you get that piece in there and you cut that little section out, when you put the cover on and you stretch it and you put it on nice and tight, sometimes you see that line from where the repair was. So what you need to do is get some foam like this. And I did have it written down here. I was going to tell Jordan to put it on. It's called scrim foam. Scrim foam. This stuff is very, very thin. It comes in like 3 millimeters. You can see it here, 3 millimeters, 6. You don't need it in 10. You don't need it in 6. You just want something that's going to cover that repair, cover the whole top of your seat, of course. Then bring it around the sides. You put your cover on. You make it nice and tight. And it won't take up too much space in there. The cover will still fit. And you'll never see the repair that was done around the original foam. Yeah, I would recommend buying a new foam, but you know, it depends on what you're doing with the bike. And if it's just a racer, or maybe you're looking to sell it and you want to make it look nice, that's a little bit of an easier way to repair your foam instead of going out and maybe spending, I don't know, 75, 100 bucks on a seat foam. Scrim foam. Thank you, Bill Maloney. Jeff Kokoski. Jeff Kokoski, a big supporter of the show, always sending in some great questions too. He says a friend of his is having some serious issues with gas and oil separation in his 79 RM 125. Not that the bike matters, but it is a 79 RM 125, and I just wanted to mention that because that's what Jeff said. I think the topic will generate some great comments from the viewers, and we could really use their help. Now, I did do a little research on this, and what I believe you're talking about is, and you mentioned that your friend is using Maxima 927. A great oil. A lot of guys use it. I did a little research on this, and I discovered that under 35 degrees, they say that Maxima 927 will separate from the gas. Now, of course, a lot of guys out here in California and some of your warmer states don't have that problem. I'm not exactly sure where you are, Jeff, but if it's getting their bike's been sitting a while, that may be a reason why it could be separating. So under 35 degrees, people are saying that they do have a problem with the oil separating from the gas. Now, and this is really a topic for somebody who, well, is a whole lot more knowledgeable and has a whole lot more time to do a show or answer this question. There is something in ethanol fuel where they say that in the ethanol fuel, it does attract moisture. And if you're using ethanol fuel and you have a moisture problem that way, that could be while the oil and gas is separating at that point. Now, if anybody is watching the show and they've had similar experiences with that, we would love to hear from you. Please put it in the comment section or contact Jeff Kokoski personally or contact me. I'd like to know more about it as well. But I'm sure there are other people out there that have experienced it, and that could be what the problem is in your friend's bike. Check if it's the weather. That could be the problem. Or if you're using ethanol gas, which I would never recommend anybody use in your older dirt bikes, you should be either using race gas like VP or something like that. That could be why your oil is separating as well. Jeff, thanks for the question. And I hope to hear from some of the viewers tonight or maybe even some of the people that may be watching this at a later date, and maybe they have some answers for us on the separation question. Thanks, Jeff.
I'm Ron Lachine, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, Brandon here with Motion Pro, bringing to you the world's first non-leaking cable luber. You heard me right. Non-leaking cable luber. Motion Pro has designed a very ingenious tool. It's very simple to use. There's two halves and a rubber grommet that seals the canister around the cable. By connecting the two halves together, you create a compression fit. Now once that's tight, you insert the straw for your cable lube. Of course, I'm going to recommend Motion Pro's very best cable lube. You insert the straw in the end of the cable luber. You fill the fluid into the canister, and there's nowhere else for the fluid to go but into the cable. It's quick, it's clean, it's affordable at $19.99, available from your retailers nationwide. Motion Pro Cable Luber V3, get it today. Keep your cables fresh.
In the What's It Worth segment tonight, we take a look at a 1971 Husqvarna CR250. And this is, of course, the segment of the show where we encourage you to put in how much you think the bike actually sold for. I will tell you that the bike did sell in Southern California. It was sold on October 2nd of 2021. I'll read to you a little bit about the bike, and you can put in your best guess on what you think this bike sold for. According to the description, this is a very rare original paint used 1971 Husky 250 Cross. It is a 4-speed, similar to the one used in the dirt bike movie On Any Sunday. Heaven forbid somebody should mention a Husky pre-74 and not say On Any Sunday or Steve McQueen. Anyway, it appears to be a very good original correct motorcycle. It has the original gas tank seat, wheels, the correct Bing 36mm carburetor. It has Kernut shocks and Andre bars. The bike still has original silver paint on the frame and swing arm. The Husky has a beautiful patina of a 50-year-old motorcycle. You may not see many Husky 4-speeds nowadays, especially in this original unrestored condition. Classic Husky 4-speeds are really appreciating in value. They're selling at great amounts of money at auctions. The motor kicks over, it has compressions. I've not tried to start it. You should plan on rebuilding the motor. He does say that it is a matching frame and motor. It is a 250. It's got the Magura trapdoor throttle, and it's got all the original stuff on it that came from the factory in 1971 for a Husqvarna. So I would agree with the description, and it certainly does have a 50-year-old patina on it. How much do you think this bike recently sold for? $3,000? $5,000? Bike sold for $4,501. $4,501. And I think the description was really, really accurate. And more so, the pictures that the guy supplied, the seller supplied, were really in detail, and you could see everything that was going on with the bike. I think it's a perfect candidate for restoration. And these do sell for probably 3 times that amount of money if they were restored. So there you have it, $4,501, 1971 Husky 4-speed 250. Full Circle Racing. They are the sponsor of that segment. And Tom McAllister still running a great special up there. He will take your hubs, powder coat them, bead blast them, get them all clean, change the bearings, do everything it can to make those. $10 more if you want him to do the brake plates as well. And of course is in satin or gloss black. If you want a custom color, Tom can do that for you. So get a hold of Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing. He's been doing wheels for us. He's been doing wheels for a lot of guys who watch the show. And from what I understand, he's got a large shipment of wheels on their way in. They're off the ship and on their way to Full Circle Racing. Tom McAllister, thanks for helping us out here at the show. Have you ever heard of? This is a segment of the show where I tell you about a bike that you probably never heard of. Have you ever heard of a Wilco Moto? I've never heard of a Wilco Moto, never heard of it before this. Somebody brought it to my attention. I think it was last week. They sent me a message. They thought it might be an interesting bike for the show, and it certainly is. So I will tell you about the Wilco Moto. The Wilco Moto 500 was a vanity project of the Wilcox family, Tom and his sons, Steve, Mike, and Brian. It was most wholly built in their shop in Hereford, England. The Wilcox family was heavy into motocross, decided to build their own 500cc bike of two-stroke power, and with almost every single part being made in-house. Now, this is not some frame kit that you borrowed an engine from a Rotax or other bikes where you saw people building kits like Nobby Shop International or Champion or any of those. This was a bike that the Wilcox family actually built on their own. The exact number is not known how many were built, but they're saying a few people had a really good idea that there were only about 30 off this little production line in Hereford, England. It was a 490cc two-stroke engine. It was made of cast magnesium, had a 16-pedal reed valve with a 41 millimeter Delorto carburetor on it. The Wilco 500, it's very unique. It used so much magnesium in the bike. It was absolutely incredible. In the rear shock, in the fork legs, in the crankcase. They even made their own disc brakes for this bike, which were then hard chromed. An incredible little endeavor that had gone on with the Wilcox family. They were skilled craftsmen. They even jigged up their own their frame jigs. They made the frame from Reynolds 531 chromoly. It was just a work of art, this bike, and it was made in this little factory by a father and three sons. The bike had a claim weight of only 225 pounds. And needless to say, when you talk about rare, a word that's thrown around a lot, especially in the vintage motocross world, well, this is beyond rare. Just 30 of them were ever made. And they retailed for around $3,000 at the time in 1982. A little more expensive than a Honda at the time, but that was it. $3,000, 1982. Only about 30 of them were ever made. Sadly, and very, very unfortunately, the Wilco Moto factory reportedly burned down in the early 80s, destroying the Wilcox family's machinery, tooling, and the remaining stock of Wilco Moto 500s. Next time somebody asks you if you ever heard of a Wilco Moto, tell them, yeah, the Wilcox family built it. Hereford, England, 1982. Joe Body told me all about it. Wilco Moto. Sunrise vapor blasting, anything you got. If it's made of aluminum, if it's made of magnesium, whatever it may be, it could be for a car, a boat, a plane, a motorcycle, you name it, it can be cleaned at Sunrise Vapor Blasting. Mark Farriester does an absolutely incredible job. He's been doing parts for us for months, and I know a lot of my viewers have been sending stuff to Mark Farriester as well. So if you have something that's kind of delicate and you don't want to change the profile of the metal and you want it to come back cleaner than new, get it over to Mark Farriester at Sunrise Vapor Blasting. I saw the other day he had a picture up of the top end of a plane. Yeah, he had some big cylinders in there to a small engine plane. So whatever it may be for, if you want to get it clean, nothing will get it cleaner than vapor blasting, and nobody does it better than Mark Farriester. We're going to take a commercial break. When we get back, we are going to have the winner of tonight's random share giveaway winner. Keep sharing the show. When we get back, we'll tell you who won. We'll be right back.
Classic and vintage dirt bikes are more than a hobby. It's not just about the ride. It's about the work that goes in. The work that keeps you connected to the ride. It's about bringing the bike back to life and doing it with your own hands. It's about the adrenaline and adventure. And when it comes to putting all the pieces together, only Vinco knows the bikes and parts the way you do. Vinco, keep the ride going.
As promised, this week's random share giveaway winner is Bob Bean. Bob Bean, if you're watching the show, get a hold of us, get us your address. You have won this beautiful sticker sheet, compliments of Vinco.com. Bob Bean, you are tonight's random share giveaway winner. Bob Bean. This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by Racer X Magazine. Racer X Magazine available online and on your newsstand now. Racer X. Don't forget to see our ad in the back of every issue. Let's see what happened this week in motocross history. This is really interesting. It was 48 years ago this week. It marks the grand opening of a new hop-up shop that was down in Harbor City, California. Uncle Donnie's Flying Machine Factory was up and running with Donnie Emler as the co-owner and the development engineer. Donnie was the co-owner. Yeah, he was at that time, now that I think about it. Anyway, he had some fast locals there also helping him. Ray Lopez, Tim Lundy, and Rob Messer. They were his factory riders at the time. The shop billed itself as what all America has been waiting for and started selling some amazing kits for they were calling it national championship kits, and there wasn't really a national championship yet. It was in 1973, but Ray Lopez did win a standalone, what they called national championship down there in Southern California. It was a non-sanctioned event, and he did win that at Arroyo Cycle Park, and FMF just took off from there and is, of course, probably one of the most recognizable logos in motocross until this day, 48 years later. So Donnie Emler and Ray Lopez, Tim Lundy and the guys, Bob Messer, of course, from Hangtown, started it all 48 years ago at FMF. Happy anniversary, or happy anniversary or happy birthday, Donnie Emler. Oh, 1984. Jimmy Ellis, Down Under. Very interesting story here. In 1975, Ellis won the AMA Supercross Championship. Now, he was an expatriate who emigrated to Australia in 1984, and he won the 1984 500cc National Championship in the final round over the 250cc champion the year before, Jeff Leask. And he was just a teenager at the time, Jeff Leask was. Anyway, Ellis said afterward it hadn't hit me yet, and when I do see the number one on my bike, he'll say, wow, I did that, because I never had a number one on my bike. And that's true. When Ellis did finish number one in the Supercross in 1975, as I mentioned, the next year he went out on that Can-Am again, still running the number 7. And 500cc Australian Championship for the Cobalt Comet, Jimmy Ellis. That's a lot of kids. How many people have you think ever signed up for one race? How about in 1988, 2,400 entries flood into Gatorback Cycle Park for the annual Winter Olympics, also known as the Mini O's. Among the outstanding riders are Kawasaki's Team Green's Robbie Raynard, Butch Smith, who captured the Golden Goggle Award. Others names you might recognize at that race back in 1988, Jeff Emig, Kevin Windham, Mike Brown, Tim Ferry, Ezra Lusk, Jeff Dement, Denny Stevenson, Brian Deegan, Jeremy Albrecht, and Joel Albrecht. Anyway, Andy Boyer, and there was another little kid down there, just a little kid at the time, 1988, out there trying to do his best. His name was Ricky Carmichael. 1988, 2,400 kids. Wow. That's what happened this week in motocross history. We've got some announcements for you tonight. Jordan, what do we have up first? Vintage Motocross Radio. We'll be back on the air, not this weekend, next weekend. This weekend, we got a lot going on here at the Abadi residence. My whole family is in for Thanksgiving and another party that I'll tell you more about. And in fact, I think they're inside watching the show right now. So if Sue and my family in just a couple of minutes will come out here, the show is almost over. I'd like to have you all out here on the set. But no radio show this week. I have been posting a couple of other interviews that were really, really good in the past. I had David Bailey up today, Tommy Croft the other day, and I'll have a new one for you tomorrow. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a new interview for you. I do want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, whether you're home or you're traveling somewhere, wherever you may be. I'm sure you have a lot to be grateful for. And I'm grateful for all of you that join me here every week at Vintage Motocross Q&A, and how you all keep sharing the show, and how you join me every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And Jordan, is this our last slide for tonight? Jordan, is this the last one? Oh, no, we got a couple more. Sue. Anyway, we still got T-shirts and hoodies to give away. Not give away, sell. T-shirts, $19.99. Hoodies, just a couple of bucks more. The cold weather's here. It'd be a nice gift for Christmas for somebody. Vintage Motocross Q&A, T-shirts and hoodies. Sponsorship opportunities are still available. In fact, I got a sponsorship message from somebody today. They are interested in coming on board. It's going to be Bill's Pipes. So stay tuned if you want to maybe get some... I don't know if they're going to have a special or what exactly we're going to do with Bill's Pipes, but I was talking to Randy Scott today, and we will be having Bill's Pipes as a sponsor. And while I'm thinking about it, don't forget the York Swap Meet is coming up on January 22nd. I didn't have any announcements tonight, but it is coming up on January 22nd. It'll be a great event. There'll be the banquet the night before. There'll be a big swap meet on Sunday, and I'll be judging the bike show and eating all the pizza that Pennsylvania has while I'm there that weekend. So if you can make it there, I'd love to see you. I think I'll be selling T-shirts there as well. Where is the dog? Is the dog here tonight? I want to thank everybody for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. I would like everybody. I would like Josh, Danielle. I want everybody to come in. So our viewers, come over here. Put that fly swatter down. Come over here. Stand right here next to me. Come here. This is my grandson, Zane. He's a Kawasaki rider. Rides a 110. We got his dad, Josh. Oh, 140. Excuse me. He rides a 140 now. This is his dad, Josh, our boy Josh, a Corvette guy. We've got his wife, Danielle, is here. And Jesse and Nick, and come around the other side. Here's Danielle. Come on, Kai. Kai is in here, too. Kai doesn't ride bikes, but he's a football player. Our lovely daughter, Jessica. Our husband, Nick. Where's Gavin? Gavin fell asleep. It was a long day for everybody on the plane. Thank you for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. And we'll see you next week. Good night from our family to yours.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Good job, Kai. You knocked it out of the park. Gino, come on, boy. You still made it. Oh, yeah, I'm plugging him in. Wait a minute. Go, Gino. You still made it to the show tonight. Yes, it is. Yes.